Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Keith's Boxing Gym Talk, the return. I know I haven't been on here in about 7, 8 weeks. I had some things going on, but the boxing world was kind of dead to me or whatever. But that make it, no excuses though. If I want to do this, I have to be on this full time. Whether it was boring news, was little news, whether it's big news, whether it's worldwide news in the boxing world, I'm supposed to be there. So I'm going to work on that. And like I said, welcome to Keith's Boxing Gym Talk. I think I got about 15, 20 minutes worth of things that I want to talk about. It's a lot that's been going on. The Canelo Crawford press conference. We got Richardson Hitchens. He just retained his IBF title by defeating George Kambosos. Keyshawn Davis, that happened a few weeks ago. Gonna get on that subject too. And Jaime Munguia, he tested positive for a banned substance. But before we get into that, I want you guys to like and subscribe. Like and subscribe, please. Please. Now, first thing, Jaime Munguia, man. I don't know what went wrong. My thing is, like, why do you guys take that risk, to take a banned substance and then try to act like you didn't know anything was in your system, knowing that you're going to get caught? You're always going to get caught. They do a thorough investigation. They do a thorough urine, drug screen, blood screen. They do all of that and everything like that. Yes, you got knocked out by Bruno Soares. I don't know if you felt like that you couldn't beat that man, so you had to go ahead and you had to put those things inside your system and, to make you perform better. But, without those, I think that you would have performed, I think you would have got the win if you just would have been cautious and to stop walking into things. You went off the little 6. I think he had 4 KOs or 5 KOs or whatever, so you just tried to walk him down and you got caught with a good punch. I think if you just would have been cautious and this would have never happened in the first place, a rematch would have never took place, and you could have went on about your career, seeking another title shot. But as much as Oscar really, bothers me sometimes, but his clapback Thursdays are funny, and it's been funny, and he does have a point. He said about 6 of Eddie Reynoso's fighters have tested positive. Me, myself, I don't know the other 2 fighters, but I know Jaime Munguia, Canelo himself, and I know Oscar Valdez have all tested positive for a banned substance working in your camp. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it's a camp. I don't know if it's the camp that you guys are at and you guys go get food around that area or something like that. If it's contaminated with something, I don't know. But I agree with Oscar, though. Something needs to be done. There needs to be an investigation with that, man, So, I hope that Jaime Munguia can learn from this, man, and he doesn't need some performance enhancing drugs or whatever to compete with the best of them. You got one of the best coaches, Eddie Reynoso, and I don't know, man. I don't know where it goes from here. I don't see you being that effective at super middleweight. You got your chance with Canelo Alvarez. That was a big payday, and you got knocked out by a man with 4 KOs. I would say go back down to middleweight, but I don't know if you're disciplined enough to go back down to middleweight, because I don't see you beating any elite fighters in the top 10 or the top 5. I may say in the top 5 in the super middleweight division, man. So we're gonna get on to the next thing, man. Keyshawn Davis. Was a big fan of him. I was rooting for him. I even had some videos about him saying that how I thought that he was going to be a better fighter, more complete fighter than Shakur Stevenson. By the time that Bomac had got through with him, because he's in the same training camp as Terrence Crawford, and he molded Crawford into being one of the greatest fighters in the history of this sport, especially today. But now, as we see that mental health is into play. You did some crazy stuff. Your brother lost, Kelvin Davis. He lost, on the undercard or whatever a few weeks ago. I forgot the man's name. Excuse me for this, but it was a fighter from Philly, and Keyshawn Davis. He had beat him convincingly, even though they said it was a majority decision. So they went ahead and got Kelvin Davis in there, the older brother, and he just couldn't do what Keyshawn could do, and he definitely earned that victory. And hats off to him. But then when you guys get to the backstage, you jump him. He said that you put his head in his chest, and then he had a knot on his head and stuff like like that. The thing that it gets me the most, though, is you had your son back there in the backstage while all this is going on. The baby could have seriously got hurt. My brother, this is not the streets no more, man. You're supposed to show professionalism. This is going to cost you. You got all the people in the world that, they're criticizing you now because of that, man. You and your other brother, man. It's three of you guys, and you guys were both, all three of you guys. Well, Kelvin Davis, he didn't want any parts of that. I think it was something like, I think he stood back or something like that. I don't know the whole story, but I know it was him and the other brother, they got involved and they got physical, and, that's not right. You're going, because we heard you heard him celebrating in the next room, in the locker room. So now you feel like you have to do something because you're in your hometown. You don't want nobody celebrating in your hometown in the locker room. It's not the streets of LA. It's not the streets of Atlanta. It's not about no checking in or nothing like that, man. This is about professionalism, man. You take that on the chest, you just make your brother better. Kelvin Davis, I wish you nothing but the best. Keyshawn Davis, man, I hope you do better, man. I guess you're going to move up to 140, man. I think you're going to be effective. You're a damn good fighter, hell of a fighter. I just want you to learn from this, man, because I still believe in you. I know that you're going to come into division champion in the 140-pound division. I know that for a fact, man. You're just too damn good. You're too good, man. Richardson Hitchens, man, I wasn't sold on him at first. When he fought Gustavo Limos. He had a couple of other fights where, when he struggled, he didn't look that good, I would say. But, man, he's definitely improved. He definitely proved that he wants to be a champion. He beat Liam Powell for the IBF 140-pound championship, man. It was a good fight, but he pulled it off. And then, he fought George Kambosos, man, and got him up out of there. I honestly thought this fight was going to go 12 rounds, but I thought he was going to beat him convincingly. But he did get him out of there with a body shot, man. And when he hurt him, he took control of the fight. He went after that, and, he went after with a good finish. And so I am very, 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 very pleased with that performance, man. There's some talks about him and Devin Haney getting in the ring and fighting each other, man. I, myself, definitely would love to see that fight. People may say it's a boring matchup, and it's probably going to be a chess match. But me, being the boxing pugilist that I am, and I appreciate every fight that comes my way, I appreciate the art of boxing, so I'm not going to complain about everybody else that wants to see other fighters' heads get knocked off. I appreciate the hit and not get hit, the chess match and the boxing and stuff like that. So me, myself, I cannot wait. If I had to pick who would win right now, man, just based on the last few performances of Devin Haney, yes, anybody would probably go over Richard Hitchens for real, based off his last performance. But you never know, though. Devin Haney, what's the man name? He fought Jose Ramirez in his last fight. I want to say he's a shot fighter. He's not all the way out of his prime or whatever, but he's not what he was when he fought like Josh Taylor and stuff like that, though. But at the same time, he was coming forward. Devin Haney is feather-fisted, and, so he took advantage of that and tried his best to pressure him and stuff like that. But Devin Haney, being the man that he is, knows how to use his good footwork, and he doesn't want to get hit. And I think a little bit of that Ryan Garcia fight, I think it did damage him a little bit. But I do expect this to be a good fight. So to me, it's going to be a toss-up for real, because Richard Hitchens doesn't hit, he only has, I want to say 8 or 9 KOs out of 21 victories or whatever. So don't be surprised if you see a different Devin Haney. We saw the Devin Haney that fought Regis Prograis, and we might be able to see that again. So you never know. I definitely want to see that. Definitely want to see Richard Hitchens fight some of the top fighters in the 140-pound division, man. So I am excited about that, man. I think Gary Russell called him out. I know Gary Russell beat him about 4 times in the amateurs. That's what they say. I thought that Gary Russell was going to be unstoppable, though, until he fought Arthur, what's his name, Puello, I think, or something like that, Puello. And that man beat him convincingly last year. I think that was on the undercard of the Tank Davis and Frank Martin fight. So I seen a lot of weaknesses in Gary Russell's, in his repertoire or whatever you want to call it. So you just can't count out Richard Hitchens because, Gary Russell is all about power puncher. If he can use his footwork and he can use his toughness and not be scared of Gary Russell's, his firepower, man, it would be a great matchup, man. Just gotta think, man. Power ain't everything, man. And that's what Poirier proved, man. Poirier proved has a fight coming up with Sabriel Matias. And I favor him in that fight because he's so decorated in that ring. He knows what to do. He got great ring generalship and stuff like that. So that's gonna be a great fight, man. I can't wait. I can't wait if that happens. I think that fight is more likely to happen than Devin Haney and Richardson Hitchens, though. But all right, man. Let's get into talk. Let's get into what what we've been seeing for these past few weeks, past few days. The press conference has been going crazy, a little shoving, things are getting personal. The fight that I can't wait, the fight that's even bigger than me than the Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao competition that happened 10 years ago. Canelo Alvarez versus Terrence Bud Crawford, and it's heating up. I can't wait, y'all. I definitely can't wait till September 13th. It's going to be on Netflix, man. This is going to be a great fight for me, even though I can't make it to the fight at the Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. I will be having on a suit and tie with my sunglasses on like I'm at the fight, though, because that's how much of a boxing fan I am. I am going to be rooting for Terrence Bud Crawford. Yes, I am, because everybody want to go against the grain. They want to follow the protocol about because Canelo is the bigger fighter and stuff like that. And I'm going to tell you why Crawford has a great chance at beating Canelo, man. One, Canelo was not the same fighter that he was, and I know we've been hearing about this for the last few years. Ever since he lost to Bivol, he hasn't had a knockout. You know, it seemed like he's scared to get in there and mix it up. Besides the fight he had with Jamel Charlo, he had a good game plan with Jamel Charlo. Jamel Charlo, I guess when they went in there, I think him and Eddie Reynoso, they had that plan. They had that all set up when I guess when they reached out to Charlo or whatever. Yeah, we're going to trick Charlo. He's going to come at the press conference. We're going to do the stare-off. Everybody's going to see how much bigger than he is than Canelo and all that stuff, including Jamel Charlo himself. Probably look down on him like, yeah, I can take him. I'm about to, you know, he did look a lot bigger than him, so I thought it was going to be a competitive fight. But came fight night, though, man, what did Canelo do? Pressure the whole fight. Pressure. Showed him just because you look bigger at this press conference doesn't mean that you're stronger than me in the ring, and I'm about to fucking show you, and that's what he did, man. He backed him up. Jamel Charlo hasn't fought since. It took something from him. They had a good fucking game plan, man. Eddie Reynoso's a hell of a trainer, regardless of what's going on with all these PED uses and stuff like that. All his fighters testing positive for performance enhancement drugs and stuff like that, man. He's still a good trainer, man. That was a good fucking game plan. I love a good game plan when somebody can pressure a fighter. But that's besides the point, though. Charlo and Crawford are two different people, man. Yes, Charlo is a good fighter. Will he be in the Hall of Fame one day? Time will tell, depending on how he finished the rest of his career, because I don't see him doing like a few fights left. But Terrence Crawford is the first ballot Hall of Famer. Terrence Crawford hits harder than Jamel Charlo, whether you want to believe it or not, even though I know Crawford started his career all the way down at lightweight or whatever. But still, man, he still hits harder. He believes in himself. He believes in his punches. He punches with conviction. He is going to, I'm not going to say he's going to dismantle Canelo or whatever, but he's going to win conventionally. I think so. It's going to be the first time we ever going to see Canelo hurt, because he's going to fight on his back foot, and he's going to hit him with punches that he's never seen, that he's never seen coming, that he doesn't see coming. That's usually what Terrence Crawford does. You know, my favorite thing from Crawford when somebody throws a lazy jab and he makes them fucking pay for it with an on-time and powerful, precise counter punch. And this is what he's going to do. He's going to come with uppercuts, all different angles and stuff like that. Shots that Canelo has never seen before. And don't get me wrong, I love Canelo. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer, just like Terrence Crawford is a first ballot Hall of Famer. But, you know, everybody want to go off this size difference and stuff like this just because what Canelo did to Amir Khan, what Gennady Golovkin did to Kell Brook. Shit, you gotta look at it though. Crawford did them dirty too. He did Kell Brook and he did Amir Khan dirty, just like how Canelo and and Golovkin did Kell Brook in Amir Khan. You know, he just didn't have the power, though, or whatever, but he did get Kell Brook out of there. He made Amir Khan quit. So that lets you know he's on another class, and he's on a world class, another different level than Kell Brook and Amir Khan, man. And he's going to show that, man. Yes, he's been fighting sporadically. He's been inactive for the last 4 or 5 years, man. He's only been fighting like once a year in the average and stuff like that. And then, you know, I think, who's the man named Showbiz? I have a lot of respect for Showbiz, even though some of the stuff he says be just crazy and outlandish and stuff like that. But my man's called me today and said that he was on there talking about that he sees in his eyes that Crawford is scared. Nah. Crawford ain't scared, man. Crawford ain't scared. They say he can see it in his eyes. When the fight happened with Spence 2 years ago, when he was at the press conference yelling at Spence's family and stuff like that, cussing, threatening them, telling them what he about to do, I'm like, oh man, he's showing some he's being emotionally weak right now. He's showing some emotional weakness right now. And I'm like, and Spence was just calm, very calm. at the weigh-in, he dapped him up like, I thank you for this opportunity, Crawford, and stuff like that. I'm like, ah, shit, this shit not looking good. I believe what the people were saying in the blogs and on the internet that Spence was going to be too big for Crawford and stuff like that. But what happened the next day, though, didn't have nothing to do with what he did at the press conference or how he was going off on Spence family and stuff. He went there and he dismantled him. So looks can be very deceiving. People can go in there and try to read somebody's body language, especially somebody like Crawford, or they want to, but that's not going to work with a fighter like Crawford. Crawford believes in himself. I believe in Crawford. I believe Crawford's going to fight on his back foot. I seen that little comp. They had a sit down today with Shaq and I think Mike Copperton from ESPN or something like that. And he said that Crawford's never fought nobody elite. I tend to disagree. Y'all want to go up because he never fought really nobody elite in the welterweight division. Let's not forget about what he did in the 140-pound division and the 135-pound division. The first one to defeat Yuriorkis Gamboa. I think he's a two-time Olympic gold medalist. He was undefeated at the time. The man's footwork was crazy. His combos was crazy. He was on the pound-for-pound list, and he got cocky, and he went to Crawford's backyard after taking a year off. He did take a year off, but a man is gifted to Gamboa. That doesn't matter, though. And what did Crawford do? Crawford dismantled him. Yes, he hurt Crawford. That's probably about the only time you ever seen Crawford hurt, but Crawford finished the fight, though. He fought an undefeated Victor Posto, a Posto that got rid of Lucas Matiste and stuff like that. Y'all can say he's not elite, you know what I'm saying, but just like Crawford said, just because he's not a commercial success and nothing like that, y'all want to go off of how many tickets he's selling and stuff like that, man. But Crawford dismantled him. My favorite performance from Terrence Crawford, besides the Errol Spence fight where he looked the most impressive, was this fight when he fought Felix Diaz, the dude from the Dominican Republic. Yes, he had one loss on his record, but that was a controversial loss against Lamont Peterson, and everybody, including myself, thought that Felix Diaz, he won that fight. And that man, he has great footwork, man, great counter punches. He's a very tricky fighter. He punches from all angles. And Terrence Crawford went in there and he dismantled him. So, yes, but I mean, Canelo, you can't say that about that. He's never fought nobody elite because you're going off his resume on the welterweight division or whatever, because he was limited. He was blackballed in the welterweight division because he was on the ESPN side, not on the PBC side. Unlike you, have you fought somebody elite before in their prime? Miguel Cotto past his prime and very small. Didn't know what to do with his size or whatever, so we can't say that. I guess the only one you got on your record that I can think of right now is Gennady Golovkin, or you lost the first one. And this is not me shitting on him or anything like that, but we want to talk about elite status. The only person that you fought that was elite, the people that you fought that were elite, you lost to. Dimitri Bivol, Floyd Mayweather. We can even go and we can say Irislan Dilure, where people thought that you lost that fight. It could have went either way with me, but they gave it to you though. So we can't sit there and say that about Crawford, that he's never fought nobody elite, man. Y'all have to do your homework on these on stuff like this, man. Crawford is given time to build his body up. He's gonna go in there. He's gonna go in there confident. He's gonna punch with conviction. He's gonna find how to get to Canelo's body, unlike any other boxer that he's ever faced it. This is going to be the best boxer besides Floyd Mayweather that he's ever fought. He's even got better boxing skills than Dimitri Bivol, but he just doesn't have the size. But he's going to make up for that with his skill and his power and his IQ. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm definitely excited for this fight. I definitely can't wait. I'm so glad it's on Netflix, man, for the world to see, the whole world to see. I will be ready. I will be prepared. This is even bigger, like I said, even a bigger fight than the Floyd Mayweather and Mayweather. This is I'm more anticipated than that. The last fight before the Mayweather and Pacquiao fight, the fight that I was nervous about and I couldn't wait for, and this one of my top 3 fights of all time, was Andre Ward and Sergey Kovalev, the first fight. So I'm just excited about this fight, man. So I just like I said, man, I just can't wait. I'm back now. I think I'm gonna be doing 3 shows a week, man, giving you guys the best boxing knowledge that because I think I have a lot of knowledge or whatever, and I see a lot of people. I see people arguing, and I'm sitting here making my cases on Facebook and stuff like that, man, and people talking to me and telling me I don't know about boxing. I know a lot about boxing, son, and I'm about to be showing it in the next few videos in the next few months because I'm back, y'all. So I want you guys to like and subscribe, man. My next video, I'm going to be talking about Keyshawn Davis and Jose Cepeda, and I'm going to be talking about Tank Davis and why he hasn't signed that contract yet to fight Lamont Roach in a rematch. So I love you guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon.